Just so you know, Daft Monks is half talk show, half actual play campaign that features adult language and topics. Viewer discretion is advised.
Let's get to it. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Nat One Presents podcast of Daft Monks. Hey, Nate.
Hey, we're back.
We are back again. Tell a friend.
It's been, what, one week? 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
Too long. It's my fault mostly. Been super busy with kids and jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Very selfishly providing for your family.
The nerve of me, really.
Unbelievable. How did the jiu-jitsu tournament go?
Ooh, it wasn't bad. Right off the bat, I met my competitor, and he was, no joke, 1.5 feet shorter than me, but somehow we were the same weight. So his strategy was to lay on top of me, and it worked out very well for him. At one point, his boob was in my mouth, and it was the most disgusting.
Wait, what?
Yeah, has ever happened to me in my life. Because he had like lady boobies, but he's a man, you know? And then like he's like trying to wrestle me and pin me on the ground, and his boobie plopped right in my mouth because I'm trying to gasp for air because there's this big fat guy on top of me. It was okay. There was a couple of things that were a little off. Some of the rules, there was hardly actually any rules, but one of them was no slamming. And that was the first thing this guy did right off the get-go was slam my ass into the ground. So I kind of looked for a DQ, didn't happen. I was a little bit woozy from it because I landed on my neck and head, and he proceeded to tap me out that round. The next round, I had to go against him again because it was technically a different division. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take him out this time. I immediately changed my plan. I'm like, I'm not going to let this fat dude lay on top of me. So I laid down and started doing some leg locks and like ankle holds and shit. And no joke, Nate, the ref stops me in the middle of the fucking match. He's like, hey, you can't do that. And I'm like having a conversation with him while I'm fighting a guy saying, yes, man, I can. It's a wide open division. Go read the rules. And that was a joke on my part. But this motherfucker said, okay, pause. And I am upside down, inverted, holding a footlock that's supposed to be a surprise move, by the way. And
he's reading the rules?
Yeah, he paused us. It's on the video for a whole minute. He leaves. And I am upside down on the ground holding this footlock. And the other guy was for kicking my ass twice in a row. He was a good sport because he started laughing. And I was like, hey, shut the fuck up, man. We're supposed to be paused. Can't talk when we're paused. He's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Just be paused. So he came back and he's like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm like, thanks. And then he's like, go. And I'm like, go? Okay.
Go.
Yeah, go. I'm like, oh, that was fucking great. So then after those two terrible situations, very unprofessional, I had finally one more match. And then I was like, I'm not going to take any chances with this. So I immediately took him down and knee barred him. And the third match was probably only 30 seconds. But if I can tell you another funny story, Megan recorded my 2 losses perfectly. They are in frame. The camera doesn't shake. You can clearly see the pain and anguish on my face as I am getting beaten into the ground. And then for my actual win, that was a beautifully placed knee bar. The camera is looking at Megan's face for a half of a second and then looks down at her feet for about 1 second and then cuts out. And it wasn't bad enough that I had to lose one match because I was dizzy. One match was super close and because of a referee penalty. But the match I did win, I could not even go back and watch because Megan was fighting with the kids and trying to record it. Oh, it broke my heart.
So she has like perfectly articulated on camera the boobie in your mouth?
Yes.
Is that? Yes.
Yep. And apparently it's actually a technique. They call it mother's milk, I guess. And I'm like, I've never heard of that in my life. And my coach was like, oh yeah, it's what they call it. I'm like, that's fucking disgusting, dude.
No, they don't. Who's they?
Yes. I apparently
Who is they?
In some jiu-jitsu circles, Nate, someone out there is putting titties in mouths and they're calling it mother's milk. It's a legitimate move, I guess.
What was that? No, I don't believe that. Was this league in Pahrump, this tournament?
No, it was in Las Vegas.
Okay. All right. Because I was like, Pahrump fucking jiu-jitsu is on a whole nother level.
No. Vegas is actually really big for jiu-jitsu tournaments. So they have one at least once a month. UFC's out there and MMA is a big deal. So yeah, it's in Vegas.
Do you think that, because you had mentioned like it was kind of a weird league, right? It's like, oh, anyone this age, any weight, et cetera, et cetera. So do you think that was maybe the issue, is like you were matched against like really bizarre? Because it sounds like the last match was like nothing.
Right.
And then the first match was a guy well above. Oh, no, he was the same weight as you. But
Same weight.
Shorter.
Oh, yeah, no joke, Nate. I'll send you the picture later. I am standing, you know how a podium looks, where first place is on top. Yeah. And then I'm on second place spot, and I am still taller than him, even though we are standing on staggered podiums. And yeah, I think it was just a smaller tournament. And then I'm obviously a little rusty. I haven't competed in 2 years since the move, and then a little bit before.
And some bullshit calls, too. Right. So, bummer.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, I hats off for you in trying. You didn't get injured. That's a win in my book.
True that. I am very excited I did not get injured. His armbar hurt, though, and the titty in the mouth really hurt my pride. But other than that,
the mother's milk. Oh, my God. So are you going to do another one?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Now I'm going to start training for just the gi this time, because the last one was no gi, so it's more like wrestling, kind of, but the gi's a different animal.
Is it? Does it make a difference?
Oh, huge difference. You're gripped the whole time. Someone has like grips on you because they can grab your clothes. The one I just did, you're not allowed to grab clothes or anything. It's just titty and mouth, apparently.
I do expect to see that video later.
All right, yeah, I'll send it to you.
Well, in other news, Nate, it is a good time for D&D. A movie's coming out in about 2-ish weeks, I think. The D&D movie, the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves.
I'm excited for it. That clip of Speak to Dead spell was fucking hilarious.
You did ruin it for me, though, because now every time I see the part with the owl bear, I just hear you like going on your rant.
Yeah, what are they supposed to do? And then D&D Beyond, I guess, with the movie, sent out their character sheets on what they're supposed to be. I didn't look at it because it's not believable. I don't give a fuck.
No, all kinds of promotional stuff. Our good friend Jack, he was like brought into a movie theater and was like doing a whip stunts in the theater in advance, like promoting it from like Regal Theaters or something. And he had a really cool like giant D20 that was like themed for the movie. And I'm like, I want that D20.
Yeah, how do we get our hands on that?
What I was a little annoyed about, Nate, is a bunch of, we're in the podcast circle, and there's a lot of us at the amateur level that I would classify us at. And some of these shows who have, I would imagine, even fewer listeners than us, they got invites to a movie premiere. And I'm like, they're not even that good. No offense. But Nate, like, maybe mine got lost in the mail. Did you get an invite to the D&D movie premiere?
I did not get an email, and I'm probably missing it, much like my Hogwarts acceptance letter. Like, where the fuck is it? I'm still waiting. And it just doesn't make any sense, because you think D&D, you think Nat One Presents Daft Monks for sure. Because as far as levels, those guys are amateur garbage, and we're at least semi-pro.
At least semi-pro, Nate.
At least semi-pro. We're funny.
But Nate, so I have mixed feelings. I think Rotten Tomatoes is terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, apparently this movie at 90% is what the critics have given it. So it's just pretty high for a movie based on a tabletop game.
Oh, yeah, or anything nerd culture in general. Usually they don't score us very high on the radar.
I also believe the Mario movie is coming out soon, but I refuse to see that, Nate. I am so upset about Chris Pratt voicing Mario. I just will not pay to see that movie. It's not going to happen.
Is it because he's not going to have an Italian accent?
It's because Chris Pratt sounds the same in every fucking movie. He like whether it's like the Lego movie or Jurassic Park or whatever, like it's just the same. He doesn't do voices. He just does Chris Pratt. And then there is a voice actor for Mario, Nate. Like we know what he sounds like. He's alive. He didn't die.
Right.
Where the fuck is that guy? I don't know, Nate, and I'm just not happy about it. But Jack Black sounds pretty great. I heard his voice for Bowser, and it's actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah, and I've seen some clips on him wanting to channel his fiery aggression and why he thinks Bowser feels the way he does, and that was pretty funny. But yeah, talking about Chris Pratt, he totally ruined that one Lego movie because he sounded like the other guy. And then, like, twist ending, it was you the whole time, Emmett. Like, yeah, well, no shit, because they sound exactly the fucking same.
I don't know. He ruins everything for me. I'm so over Chris Pratt, like 100%.
I'm sorry, Nate.
Nate, I want to talk to you. I want to change topics a little bit and talk about Magic the Gathering.
Ooh, okay.
What is your experience with Magic?
Magic is something that I've always seen people play, and I've seen the cards, and I've always wanted to get into it. But if I'm 100% honest, it seems like a daunting task to try to dive down into that, because you see these people making plays and shit. Like, I'll watch videos online and I have no idea what's going on, but man, it intrigues me for sure. but I've never had the courage to actually say, hey, can you teach me to play Magic?
100%. Like, I had many opportunities to get in on this movement that has been around for a very long time. So fun fact, for a very short period of time when I was younger, I don't even remember it, but my dad owned a comic book shop.
What?
Very short period. But so he was in like collecting comic books, and he also had a bunch of Magic cards. And this is a bit of an aside, but in college, he gave me his Magic cards, and they were so old, from like the first or second generation of Magic. And I went to, immediately, being a poor college kid who doesn't play Magic, I went to pawn them. So I went to see how much they're worth. And it turns out, Nate, they weren't worth very much. Like, there's two things that can happen when you have really old shit. It's like so old and valuable, because of its like age and whatnot, and it's hard to find.
Right.
Or they printed a bunch of it and then like changed a bunch of the rules, and now it's not really valid anymore.
Oh,
That's a lot of what my dad had. Like, it ended up like, they're like, oh wow, these are really old cards. They're terrible, and nobody wants them because they're not like, the game evolved since then.
Right. They're obsolete.
Yeah. The only thing he had, from my understanding, that was valuable, that we kind of sold for some cash. My dad was actually cool. He sold those before he gave me the rest of his cards, and he bought me Yu-Gi-Oh cards because I was into Yu-Gi-Oh back then. But he had dual lands, which I guess were like, like you tap lands to get mana, however you want to pronounce it. Yeah. And I guess like land cards that have multiple types, maybe older ones were at least worth money or rare.
Oh, okay.
So he had a bunch of those that we sold. But anywho, Magic has like always been around. Like, my dad played it. Then I went to high school. My friends played it. And I'm like, no, I'm not into it. I'm poor. I can't afford this game. Then I went to a video game design college, and my college peers played it. Then I joined the Army National Guard, and they're still playing Magic.
They are?
Yes. Still. The last drill was at, we had to stay overnight. They didn't let us leave at night. And everybody and a bunch of people were playing Magic at night. But long story short, Nate, totally agree with you. It's always just felt daunting. Like, even just this last drill, like they're sitting like four of them at, like this big table, and they have so much shit going on the table. Like, it's all these cards. It's not just a bunch of cards, but they have like all these like tokens keeping track of like how many numbers. And a lot of these cards are like adding another stack of something or other. It looks daunting.
Right.
What's challenging, really, is that's just your deck, Nate. Like, like that literally every time you play more people, they have more cards, more decks, more themes. And it's like, so do you just have to keep learning all of that shit to be competitive? Or like, can I enjoy it without knowing what anyone else is doing, like what their strategy or what their cards do?
Right. If they're throwing out 26 different strategies and you only have your one little deck and only know how to play one way, man, that's not even fair.
Oh, yeah. And then I think Magic's one of those where you don't have a limit to your cards. Like, you can have a much bigger deck or something. I think that's the case with Magic. Like, a lot of games I played, like Yu-Gi-Oh, there was like a limit. I think it was like 40 cards was the like.
Yeah.
If you look at some of their decks, they're like fucking bricks.
Right. The game looks like it's fun, but it just looks too much.
It does. Well, Nate, I think our fans, all 16 of them or however many, have been waiting to play some Daft Monks, or for us to play some Daft Monks.
Oh, you think so? Because I got other things I want to talk about.
Oh, do you? Oh, shit.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Well,
oh, yeah.
Well, all right then.
For our courageous listeners of past episodes, you may have listened to our Highlander episode. Now, our Highlander episode was a deep dive into the Highlander movie universe, where me and Nate made a startling discovery about 80 movies in general, that there is a certain gay guilt trip thing going on in there. You agree, Nate?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to take too much away, but if you go back to the first season, you listen to a Highlander episode, we talk about that scene where he's like, goes into like a police station and the guy is just dropping like F-bomb, like fag and all kinds of stuff. But I think what you're alluding to is, no, I think all these movies kind of did some of this bullshit.
That is exactly correct, Nate. I have been doing some discovering on my own, and I have watched 2 movies, both of which point in this direction. One of them was Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze, where there are a couple of lines, again, dudes being called bundles of sticks. And then one direct quote was, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison." And let me tell you, Nate, I was rather taken aback from this line, because that is not something you tell somebody else when you're going to beat them up. Like, hey, bro, I'm tougher than you, and I've banged dudes like you in jail. Like, okay. Super, super weird and off-putting. Plus, that whole movie, Roadhouse, was bananas. The cops should have been involved. Like, 50 people end up dying. Buildings get burned down. A monster truck runs over a whole dealership. It's worth a watch if you haven't watched Roadhouse in a while. Patrick Swayze can rip people's throats out with just his fingers. It's bananas. But I didn't think anything of it really until I watched another 80s movie, and that was Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, the main, or one of the main antagonists was somebody that was on his squad when they were overseas. And this man, I actually sent you the picture, Nate. His attire is like a chain mail vest shirt that he's wearing with a leather vest over the top of that, showing off his sweet guns and his Freddie Mercury-esque mustache. Now, this was supposed to be like a tough guy in the 80s, but to me, he is screaming gay nightclub in the 80s. Like, that is the vibe I'm getting from it.
Yeah, the 80s was a fascinating time. I obviously, wasn't around, neither were you really. Male fashion just leaned towards pedophile. Mustache, crop top, and just weirdly enough, super gay, even though, Nate, I'll give you a little gay history lesson. Like, the 80s were height of HIV.
Right.
It was a hard time. A lot of people were blaming homosexuals, or if you had HIV, it was because you were homosexual, which is, there's a lot more going on. And so maybe, I don't know if some of that bled into the script writing. But the other thing is, we talked about these things where the theme for 80s movies was too much information. Everybody, every extra had a backstory. I don't know if these writers just went crazy, if they were influenced by sentiment in the 80s, or just everything was a little overtly gay then, Nate. I don't know.
Right. I think it was all the cocaine they were on. So they weren't sleeping at all. And they're like, you know what? This guy needs more details. This random guy sitting at the wrestling match needs more details.
It's jarring, right? When you watch those scenes, were they not jarring when shit's oh, I fuck guys like you in prison, where you're not whoa, this is taking me out of the movie.
Why is this so intense right now? And why in the 80s was it when I'm sweating a guy is that I'm going to get within kissing range and then basically threaten him. Be like, you want to kiss me, don't you? Don't you, fag? Yeah. And then get closer to him, creeping on in. Come on, you want to do it, don't you? I might like it, but I won't tell anybody about it. I mean, no, I'm going to beat you up. I'm ashamed of myself. What's going on?
Exactly. I think that's what we're really getting to is you had just a lot of closeted script writers who were just living out their fantasies, maybe subliminally.
Or maybe they were getting these roles as characters and they're like, I'm going to bring a little bit of my own pizzazz to it. And they're like, okay, man, you do you. And he's like, oh, yeah, I used to fuck dudes like you in prison. Whoa, keep the camera rolling. This is good stuff.
They're like, we don't have time to reshoot. It's in the film.
Nope, yeah. Our budget's not that high.
It's in the movie.
Oh, man. But yeah, I saw that and I just had to bring it back up again because I think we were spot on. So now the more 80s movies I watch, I don't even have to look for it anymore because it's really fucking blatant when you see it.
And it always comes back, Nate, to Robot Jox. But this is why Robot Jox is a stellar example of the 80s because it didn't need any of that bullshit. And it didn't, right? There was none of that.
Nope, none of it whatsoever. Robot Jox was the epitome of all that combined. It didn't require any of that. It had interracial love between Athena and Achilles. It had very successful multicolored people, the Japanese guy and the one guy on the dumb waiter, the only two.
It had fat people. It had skinny people. It was really ahead of its time. Yeah. We peaked at Robot Jox.
That was the best cinema could ever offer this planet was Robot Jox.
All right, Nate. So not going to lie, I'm having you do these D&D ranking challenges mostly because they make for great social media clips. That's not what social media analytics is showing, but in my heart, I know that some of these clips are hilarious and they're going to blow up on the socials one day.
Right.
So your task, should you choose to accept it, is to rank some of the top and worst D&D spells.
Okay, I think I can handle that. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that I hate True Strike.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Will never use it. It doesn't even make sense to me. So all it does is it burns up a cantrip spot and it gives you advantage on your next attack roll. So why not just make an attack roll and then make another attack roll? Then you have a chance of at least hitting twice.
That's true. Best case scenario of the True Strike is you hit once in 2 turns.
Yes.
Best case scenario, and without True Strike, is you hit twice in 2 turns. That's fair.
Correct.
I never thought of it that way.
Right. So like, I can't stand that one at all.
So hold on though, Nate. Do you? I don't know this, and maybe you don't either. Maybe we just cut this out of the fucking episode. But the old like True Strike in the previous version, I don't know if it was like 3.5 or whatever, was a lot better from my understanding. Do you know? Are you familiar or no?
No, I've heard the same thing too, and it's like one of those. I'm trying to think of the term that they use, like a golden spell or something like that, to where like people know that the name of the spell and they wanted it in there, but they didn't know how to transition it perfectly in 5e. So then we got this lump of crap that is True Strike in 5e spells. I've heard that. Yes.
Oh, is True Strike only for yourself, or can you cast it on someone else?
Only for yourself.
Oh yeah, so that would be the only reason of like, oh, let me give True Strike to somebody who will hit hard,
right?
Because that will do more damage than me hitting maybe even twice. That was the logic in my head. But if True Strike is only a self spell, though, then I guess that's garbage.
Oh, let me double check just to make sure. On your next turn, you gain advantage on your first. Yeah, it's just saying you do. Oh, and it's concentration. Holy shit! That makes it even fucking worse, dude.
That's true. That's true. I'm actually reading real quick. I'm reading the 3.5 description to see if it's really anything helpful.
Ooh, okay.
The character's next single attack roll gains a plus 20 insight bonus, which I think it's not the same, but it would kind of be like saying getting like a plus 20 to hit.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Like True Strike on a boss would be in 3.5 probably a lot more helpful than like True Strike ever in
right.
5e. So,
yeah. Waste. And then with how savvy you need to be as a spellcaster and like your cantrips, you can't just interchange them all the time depending on your class. So like a cantrip slot is huge because it's basically your bread and butter. And to waste it on something like True Strike is just complete garbage.
Yeah. And an unlimited spell that it is, which is what a cantrip is, right? Like, I know they're like lower level and they're weaker, but they're fucking unlimited. So like you said, like incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah. And then just to waste it on like a chance roll when you could have just took a chance anyways. I don't see the benefit to it at all. Next one, Dark Vision. Not a fan.
Ooh.
It's like a specific thing. If for some reason you have a whole party and that you need to be the stealthy upfront guy and nobody else has Dark Vision and you need to snuff your torches, then yeah, it's going to be fine. But more often than not, with the amount of playable lineages, now they call them, someone's going to have Dark Vision. You're not just going to be the human with regular eyesight standing there with a torch like, all right, I'm going to sneak up on them with my torch, guys. Someone's going to have Dark Vision. To waste a second level spell on Dark Vision, again, is just a waste of a slot when you could be putting something way better in there. And I'm basing all this off of like wizards. So wizards get the biggest spell list. But if someone's taken Dark Vision over Misty Step, or even invisibility, like, what are you doing here? Like, I'm going to be mad at you at the table. I'm like, you took Dark Vision. Like, for what? Like, we can go into town. I can talk to some artificer guy, or the DMs will allow it, and I'm going to buy you some night vision goggles. Like, I'm going to shake them down. You don't need Dark Vision.
No, that's totally valid. I really hate playing with people where everybody has Dark Vision. Like, just be okay that you're not a superhero and not everybody can see in the dark.
Right.
Very rarely do I play with a party where I'm usually the only person who's like, I don't give a fuck if I have Dark Vision. But everybody else makes sure it's like a checkbox, right? Like, do you have Dark Vision? And to me, like, you fucking in a party of like bat people, like, why does everybody have Dark Vision? Like, what the fuck? I get that mechanically it is sometimes hard to play D&D if like you can't see like kind of like the layout of the place you're fighting in. But it's also like a game that we're playing in the theater of our fucking mind. And actually, we can't see anything.
Right.
So just fucking roll with it and improv.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun to be limited in ways. It forces you to be creative. Every battle should not just be fucking optimized with the best, like, right? Like, you should have to stumble around the dark and accidentally, trip a booby trap and, let chaos happen. That is, I think, how the game should be played.
Oh, yeah. It is, like you said, it makes it very, like, washed out. And then, okay, so everyone here has Dark Vision, so I guess I'll be the only realistic one and just hold on to somebody's belt, and you can guide me through. And then just say, hey, shoot a spell in that direction. Like, okay.
Totally. And then a good DM, right? Like, we played recently, we were in, like, mines, and they're like, yeah, there's some lamps in there. Like, But like, yeah, right, you have to go move towards the lamp and you might be seen, or like carrying the lamp around is going to draw attention to you, right? Like things have consequences, Nate. And when you play a version of D&D with your friends where there's really no consequences, that's a shit game.
Oh yeah.
You can't all be OP gods, and like things like you have to fucking carry a lamp, will kind of draw attention to you, and that's okay. I want people to be okay with not being, what was it? Like there's like min max and there's max max, and you don't need to be max max.
Right. And you don't have to min max either, but like just make a character you're happy with. And then, like you said, it's up to the DM discretion. And that brings me to my next spell. Pretty much any of the smaller illusion spells. So like minor illusion, silent image. I've been at plenty of tables, and there's only been a handful of DMs that actually play the illusion spells how I really think they would be played out in a real life situation. So like I'm going to cast a minor illusion, so it can't do anything unless I'm obviously the illusionist wizard, then it can do something. But if it's something that I can create in my mind on the fly that should distract my enemy, I think the enemy should waste a turn on that shit. Like I think for some reason in my head, if there's like a big battle going on and then something more menacing or something weird or off-putting appears, then yeah, he's not going to be like, oh, nope, he just walks around it. Like, no, he's going to waste his turn and do the investigation check on that fucking thing and then go attack the rest of the party or go try to attack the illusion thing, or am I just being crazy on this one because I love running an illusionist wizard?
Valid. No, I agree with you. Here's like kind of a conclusion I drew recently that I think I just made this up, and maybe it would make D&D better, maybe it wouldn't, but I think they should separate practical spells and battle spells. So
Ooh.
you should have so many slots for stupid bullshit like that, like Skywrite, where you can like make 10 words in the sky or some bullshit like that's so specific, and to waste your slot, it really forces you to have less ability in battle. And you know me, like I like balance, so I always take like a spell that's like kind of specific.
Yeah.
And I don't just take all the OP damage spells because that's not fun either, in my opinion.
Right.
But I agree, like, why does the game make you choose between, like, do I want to have battle spells or not? I think it's like, just like you have a couple cantrips, I think you should have a couple slots that are for spells for stupid shit like that, for mending, for true strike, or not true strike, but for these things that are, whatever, these illusions or whatnot. I think that would make the game more fun because then you can still... There is something really satisfying. Like we joked about the Wanda fucking smiles, right? But how funny at a funeral would it be to like do that to like the antagonist while he's talking and then he starts smiling and everybody's like, wow, that guy's an asshole. Like there are satisfying moments to do that. But when you have to hope an entire campaign that there's one moment to use that spell,
right,
and give up a slot that will otherwise be like fun and practical, that's the problem. So I think D&D should just kind of separate out like the spells by like, I don't know, like combat versus
utility.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that would make the game more fun.
Oh, for sure. Like I actually like that idea a lot. Like give me some just utility slots. And because like you said, for the most part, like I like the role play aspect more than anything. So I'll only take one damage spell and then I will just cast that in battle and that's it. I'm almost like a fucking shitty warlock out there with Eldritch Blast. But then everything else, I'm like, come on, fingers crossed, hoping that I'm going to be able to use disguise self. And the DM will actually let me use it, It
is satisfying, yeah. And I think that would also encourage DMs to be like, if everybody has up to 3 utility spells that they can have on hand, they're going to have to start doing some like, role play stuff to interact with that. Where right now, it's kind of like DMs know, I would say like 2/3 of players are going to lean towards like combat, resource spells, and so they don't have to account for that other stuff,
right? Because there's a lot of players out there that are like me and you that don't give 2 shits about actually battling in 5e. Like if I can talk my way out of a fight or do some kind of bullshit trickery to get out of a fight, I'd rather do that.
Absolutely. Well, and like I've always thought this too, Nate, if you want to play a battle simulator, there are many other games that are more fun than Dungeons and Dragons. Like battle is in D&D is not the most riveting, interesting anime. Like, there are a million other games I'd like to play if I want combat.
And everybody's got to overthink it. Like, really, I would hope for something more streamlined. Like, give me a game like Risk, where the battle is I roll a die against your die, and then we can go about our business.
Totally.
Like,
You know how like in chess they have like the timers like that they have to click through. I almost wish like there was something like that. Like, if you want to spend one turn where you're like, I really know I can make something great happen on this turn, fine, but that comes out of your total time, and later you're gonna have to speed it the fuck up. Like, you're only gonna have so much. Like, I almost wish like you only get to think about your move once it's your turn, and you only have so much time, because everybody, again, trying to max every opportunity. And that's not realistic either, right? Like, in a real battle, if like 3 people are swinging punches at you, you know, like, yeah, there's those like super people who are like thinking of every situation, every angle, but that's like one genius guy in every party, maybe, not everybody having the foresight of considering the entire state of the battle and everybody's status. It's not a thing.
Right. And then that, man, we're like creating our own game now, because that could be like a battle master perk to where you get extra time added to your turn to where you could like navigate people around, you know?
Fuck it, Nate. Let's quit the podcast and let's just make a tabletop role-playing game.
Yeah, we're going to make our own fantasy role-playing game. In the 80s.
It's like, oh, when you land on this space, you have to draw your gay guilt aggression card.
Yeah. You want to kiss me, don't you, queer boy? Ooh, I like that guy. Give him inspiration.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, Nate. I think we've said our piece. Now, can we play some Daft Monks? I've been itching.
Yeah, that's fine, Nate. I'm fine with that.
Thanks, man.
The darkness is approaching yet again. The vampires have outnumbered us 4-1, and our odds are not in our favor. It seems as if all hope is lost.
I wouldn't quite say lost, as probably misplaced or something along those lines. But either way, fear not, for Van Helsing and Belmont are here to save you.
And we're back. Wow, it's actually been so long, I have to think about where we left off. Today's episode, we are going back to Naya and Belmont. Naya Nezgeni and Belmont in the previous iteration of this side of the story had jumped into the portal and delved through Belmont's memories in the effort to seek resolution. And turns out Van Helsing was something kind of haunting Belmont in a number of his memories. We thought maybe it was like, you know, it was like the present melding with the past, but like, nope, pretty sure he's your dad and he's been banging your mom, as it becomes abundantly clear. And so on this episode, we're going to now role reversal, and Naya will have to seek out some conflict resolution in order to close the portal that is swallowing up the land around the Belmont estate.
It seems that we are here. I know where this is. I've been here before when I was a young child.
Where is this? I don't recognize this. Doesn't look anything like my home.
So as we're looking out, it's just a big old field, tall grass. You see what makes like a little native village over to the side, easily to put up and down. And then there is 2 small children just standing far out in the distance away from the village. They're kind of on their knees in like a praying type position. This was me when I was a child there with my brother. This is very important. Be sure to listen. Dad! Dad! Please talk to me! As these 2 children are just looking up at the sun. Dad, I know you're there. Please!
Oh, wow.
Yes. My voice changed quite a bit. Well, I hit a growth spurt, you know.
Oh, thank God you and your brother grew out of that.
Yeah, well, I did. He didn't. Yeah, 9-inch summer, they call it, I believe. I really blossomed into a man after this. I was tired of being the only child in the village without an actual physical father. Everybody else, you know, would be getting taught things, and me and my brother would just hang out with Mom. It was a rough patch growing up as a child, but I think it made me the man I am today.
So, Naya, just forgive me. If your dad wasn't there, like he was there at one point, or are we talking like Virgin Mary, like virgin birth type deal?
I have no idea what any of that stuff is, but my father was there to give me warmth and light. He is the sun.
Yes, you've mentioned that, but are you... No, it's fine. It's fine. This is your story.
Dad, please give me a sign.
Okay, how long does this go on for, though? Because this is really terrible. You sound truly pathetic.
Well, I was just a child. There's no reason to make fun of a child. At least I'm in shape. I'm not overly weight or anything, getting hit in the face with a log.
Oh, so I can get...
Wait, this is the good part. This is the good part coming up.
Dad!
I guess that's it. And then the memory starts fading away and becomes a blur. And then now we're standing in a long hallway, Naya and Belmont. Thought there'd be more to that.
Yes, I thought there'd be some kind of... For me, we kind of spanned my life and evolved the evolution of my father hating me and me being a bastard and all kinds of things. But it turns out you have daddy issues too, Naya.
I wouldn't technically say that. Maybe this vision is actually helping with your problems, Belmont. Maybe by showing that I too was a rather weak and whiny child, but grew into the perfection that you see before you now, maybe you have a chance to later blossom. Maybe you're a late bloomer.
Okay, first off, I blossomed a long time ago. Second of all, let's just go to the next room.
All right, fine. Do you knock? I don't know how these... Okay, let's walk.
Is it... Hold on, can I say, is it like teepees? It's like a dreamscape with different teepees in it?
Yes.
Is that messed up?
There's no, I don't think so. And there's murals on the walls of buffalo running and shit like that. It's very very bad.
Animated cave drawings.
Yes, yep. Naya doesn't seem to mind it. He actually likes it.
It's very, very dark and quaint. I love it. No, I love it.
Yes. This keeps us safe from animal attacks. All right, let's walk in. And then as you walk into this now, it is completely different from where you were before. This is completely covered in marble, huge staircases lined with gold. Everything is super shiny and bright and vibrant. And you still see Naya and his brother walking up these stairs now to the top of a large palace. At the very peak of it, there is obviously a large golden emblazed sun, but it's also on fire. So you've never been to a place like this before, Belmont.
Naya, this is pretty freaking great. I assumed you lived in... Well, I'm just going to say, in poverty out in the wild. I didn't imagine you were a man of things, but that's a freaking marble staircase. This blows the Belmont estate out of the water.
Pretty nice digs, right?
So is this your home, or this is pretty elaborate even for a god or a child of a god or wherever the fuck you are?
Well, I wouldn't say it's my home per se. This is the Sun Temple. This is where my father lives. Me and my brother just got done killing the last of the Siteka.
Pardon?
The Siteka, they're giants in our culture.
Siteka. Yes.
They're cannibalistic giants that roamed the lands.
No, I know. Yeah, I've killed some in my day, I think.
I'm sure. But we wiped out the last of them, and we were finally graced with a messenger bird that told us where to find Father. And this is that memory. So the two brothers are walking up slowly up the staircase, and they finally get to the top. The doors open in, and you see a kind of cloaked figure wearing a ceremonial mask and a very vibrant headpiece coming off the back that resembles the rays of the sun. And he's sitting in a large marble chair, basically. It almost looks like the Lincoln Memorial kind of deal. He's just sitting at the top of it.
That's what you compared to the Lincoln Memorial.
Well, you can picture.
Now
right?
I'm thinking of Zeus from Hercules, where he's just in a giant chair and comes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, And then the being that is sitting there does seem larger than a normal human-sized being.
Very modest, your dad.
You look over at Naya, and he has a tear kind of rolling down his cheek. He sucks it back up in his cheek. He doesn't want to be gay in the 80s, Yes, that's Father there. I've only met him a couple of times, and this is one of those special occasions. Come closer, Belmont. Come and see his glory. his greatness before your very eyes.
And before he does that, Belmont walks over and he like pats him in the back, and I'm like, I'm sorry, it must have been really hard only seeing your dad a couple times ever in your life. I almost had it better by having a dad who hated me all the time, every day.
Well, if we're being technical, I got to see him every day of my life, as soon as the sun rose and as soon as the sun set.
Okay, maybe if you closed your eyes, but you can't like look at the sun without, getting blinded.
You look over at him and he's like squinting really hard right now. He's like, yes. So you make it to the top of the staircase, top of the platform. Naya and his brother are now kneeling in front of their father, and aura appears. And then the staff, along with the bow and arrows, come down and are basically presented to Naya and his brother. And in just like a show of gesture, like they're making like, oh, thank you. Father, if I will. And this is the memory talking now. Naya's voice has changed. You could tell he's gotten to be his man strength. I can't explain how I feel right now. That I'm overcome with such emotions. But this is a great honor, and I promise I will take care of these weapons that you have given me, and I will defend our people with them at all costs.
Well, you're welcome. No problems there. Just take the trinkets and go.
Thank you, Father. I promise you will not regret this, our meeting.
Yes, I know. I love you too, son. Now skedaddle. Take your brother and get out of here.
As you finish that, Naya looks back, and it was like a lot of stairs, and Belmont is just catching up. He's like, oh, Naya, Jesus, how many stairs are in this place? Fuck. You think we could just like float through it at a dreamscape, but what'd I miss? Anything important?
Oh, nothing at all. My father just gave me the weapons, and he's coming down off of his chair. And then you see it looks really odd to you, because it almost looks like to you, Belmont, just a regular sized man, but in giant clothes, kind of climbing down gingerly off of this large chair. And he comes over and gives Naya a hug. But Naya is so overcome with emotions. Even real life Naya right now is crying watching this. And then he hugs him with these big drapey oversized clothes, and then turns around and then just silently walks back up and then gives him a gesture to leave.
Huh.
I know, that was quite impressive, wasn't it?
It was something, Naya.
Wasn't it? I can't wait for the next memory. I don't know about you. You were having a hard time with your memories, but for me, this is fantastic.
By the way, what happened to those awesome, rad weapons he gave you?
They were broken in Dracula's chamber. It's a terrible thing.
Oh, those are those things we saw in that dark shrine.
Yes, I plan to find Father again. And hopefully he will embrace me in his warmth one more time and grace me with some more weapons to defeat the darkness that is Dracula.
Yes, I'm sure he can pull him out of those oversized sleeves of his.
What are you talking about?
Nothing, let's go.
And then you guys just matrix door whoosh, back, and you're back in the hallway. All right, I guess it's time for this door here. And then you look at it and it's just a flap of like animal skin or hide that would be used customarily in a teepee or structure of that. All right, in we go. And he pushes it open and kind of holds it for you to walk in.
Belmont's like, thank you. I want to get a good perspective for this next one.
I do too. I can't wait to see what this magical portal has in store for me. And then you guys whoosh in. And then now you are inside of a rather large teepee of sorts. And Naya's mom is currently cooking and cleaning a little bit and like meal prepping inside. Naya and his brother come walking in carrying large thing of meat, some kind of animal carcass over their shoulders, and they're laughing and then pushing each other and having a good time. And then you hear them talking to each other. Yes, no other person in the tribe could defeat an animal such as this. Only the blood of a god runs through these veins, and with that, we were the only ones capable of destroying this monster. And then Naya's little brother comes in.
Yeah, you're right, big bro. We took him down real good, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, brother. And they kind of do like a Terminator, or not Terminator, but like a Predator high five where they clasp each other's arms and they're like flexing their muscles and stuff. And they're like, Sun God.
Hubba, Naya, who is this hot broad cooking dinner for you guys?
That is my mother. You best keep those inner feelings to yourself.
Yes, all respect, but I just have to say, I'd like to paint with all the colors of that wind, if you know what I mean.
So stupid. Well, I don't know what you mean by that analogy per se, but keep it in your pants, all right?
Okay.
And she never once showed her rack like your mom was, always flaunting it about. But wait, this isn't a good memory. This is a terrible memory. Why is this memory happening? And then just as he's saying that, Naya's mom throws down the knife that she was using to clean the latest kill. And she starts yelling at the boys, I can't take it anymore. I just can't take it. Wallace.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Naya?
It's just something that she can't take it anymore.
No, after that part.
I don't know. Apparently, she used to be a secretary and also work at a police station or something. But that's the voice she was given in life. I don't know why. I just can't take it anymore. You boys always running around saying that you're the son of a god. I need to tell you something right now. It can't wait. Mother, what is it? Why are you so upset about us being sons of a god? Because we're totally awesome? And then they do the high five thing again where they clasp hands and flex their muscles. But now they look like greased up and like glistening in the sun, even though we're inside of a structure. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I have to. And then like she starts grabbing her chest and like, oh my God, Mother, are you okay? Please, go get help. And then he tells his brother to go get help, and he runs out of the tent. It's apparently taking too long, and Naya is impatient, and he also runs out of the tent. And then just in that moment, a large horse and carriage run over the TV, running over Naya's mom.
Holy shit.
Oh, I can't believe that happened. Damn these double blindfolds.
Now, a quick question. I didn't catch it because I was busy quickly evacuating the teepee, but did that man have 2 eye patches, one over each of his eyes?
Yes, he did. I will forever remember this memory. The blind man.
Do you remember just maybe 20 minutes ago when it was in my memory?
Coincidence, is it not? All of you people look the same, you know?
Us people. No, okay, yeah, no, you're totally right. Yep, let's keep going.
And then as he's saying that, you look over and you see now the blind man driving away, the teepee wrapped around a Latoots tents wagon, just flapping in the distance, and then riding off into the sunset.
I imagine like it somehow like got caught in the wagon and her body is in it and it's just dragging her away. And I'm like, I'm sure she's fine, Naya. Like, probably just, brush herself off and got up after that.
No, it wasn't. By the time I was able to get my wits about me and gather my horse, it was approximately 30 miles that she had been drugged. I will forever remember this day, the day that the blind man in the Latoots tent wagon killed my mother.
Oof. Tales old as time, right?
You've seen it once. You've seen it 1,000 times.
But the question remains, Naya. Who is the guy who owns Latoots tents? And why does he keep loaning out his wagon to random people?
To random blind people, I know. It's the craziest thing. Like, who would loan their wagon to this obviously blind man? Like, I wonder if I could even blame him now if I looked upon his face, if I could have that rage in my heart still, knowing that he's just a poor, innocent, blind man driving this wagon.
One of those things was probably correct.
Yes, I agree. One of many of those things.
Well, my friend, I'm sorry for your mother's loss. I know that must have been very hard. You barely had your father in your life, and then you lost your mother. You must have felt so alone, except for you and your brother, your blood relative, I think.
Absolutely. You could tell in our voice. We have the same voice. Him at 30 and me at 31. But, his voice matches my 8-year-old voice. It's a family trait, I'm sure.
Yeah, these things happen.
But what was my mother trying to tell me, Belmont? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it escapes me.
No ideas at all?
Is this a test? Like Belmont like looks around.
I'm legitimately curious. Like, I'm over here crying again because I have to rewatch my mother being ran over by a blind man in a wagon.
Well, she mentioned, she seemed to be very upset about you talking about your godliness. So maybe she was fill in the blanks here.
Trying to tell me
Yes.
that I need to have a better temperament about being the son of a god. You're absolutely right. I think that's right. Do you wish to do a 80s style high five hand clasp with me?
Oh, hells yeah.
And then we do it.
Wow, that feels amazing. I can see why you and your brother always did this and flaunted it in front of other people.
Yeah, and look at that when we flex. Look at that. I'm like, look at that.
I wasn't close with my brother and sister. They were kind of huge dicks.
I could see that.
They also apparently, had a different dad, so that might have been.
Well, this is about me, so let's get back to the hallway, shall we?
Yes, totally different situation, I think.
And then whoosh, back to the hallway. We're walking down the hallway now, and we come across another door. This one is, again, marble and with a gold inlay. Ah, yes, I see this memory probably pertains to the Sun Temple again. I've only been there, a handful of times, but I'm sure this one's a good one.
Where is the Sun Temple before where is this place? This seems not very subtle, like somewhere probably this would have been discovered.
Well, you see, it's actually right by the blackberry bush. There's some magical mushrooms that grow on the ground there, and then we eat them and then go on a vision quest, and then we climb to the highest point away from the blackberry bush, and there, at the highest point of the day, when the sun is high. I may have eaten too many of those mushrooms. That's when we climbed the staircase that led to the Sun Temple. I'm sure you wouldn't be able to comprehend something like that.
This is either a memory or a hallucination.
Well, it's definitely not a hallucination. It's the only way to gain access to the Sun Temple.
Huh. Okay. All right. Well, lead the way, my friend. He, looks at your fucking pupils.
Completely. As soon as you notice in the hallway that they look fine, but then as soon as you walk into the dreamscape of the next door, they're fucking wide open. Yep. Oh, this is a good one here. And then instead of the staircase, now you're instantly zoomed to the platform. And then you look up, and again, they are kneeling and looking head down. They don't want to dishonor their father by looking directly at him. But for some reason, you, Belmont, notice that he seems to be fidgeting up in his large chair a little bit, and something just seems a little bit off about him. He's not as stoic as he seemed before, if he ever appeared that way to you. Father, we have information about Mother. I'm afraid that she's passed on to the great beyond. And then more like fidgeting. Something falls down the steps and starts clanging. It's like a gold bracelet. It's like bing, 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 bing. And just like silence.
Ah, yes. That sounds terrible.
Well, do you know how it happened, Father?
Of course I do. I am the sun god. I know everything that happens under my gaze. How dare you question me?
Oh, you're right, Father. I am terribly sorry.
Now, boys, it has come to my attention from somebody else entirely, but me, because I am all powerful and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. A great darkness is coming to the land and might take over my kingdom, and it may or may not be some other guy's fault, who's ruggedly handsome and has a pet rat. It may be his fault, but not entirely, But just be on the lookout for that, okay? It's making me a little on edge.
Father, we don't have time for clues and riddles. What is it exactly you're trying to tell us?
No,
we don't know, Father.
Are you getting lippy?
No, sorry, Father.
All right, now, just be careful, and it's good seeing you guys. How about a handshake or something? No?
No, Father, that is okay. We accept your quest, and we will be on our way.
Okay, good. Don't fall down anything.
And then you, Belmont, specifically, notice that there are rifts in this image where sometimes you're looking at a giant marble palace, but then other times it looks like you're just standing on a very large pile of dirt. But then as soon as you like try to focus in on it, it goes back to the marble. So I don't know how you would feel about that.
Naya, there are a few things suspect about this memory of yours.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, firstly, let's just kind of address the elephant in the room. Is that always the voice the sun god has had?
As my memory serves, yes, it was very booming and omnipresent, wasn't it? It shook your soul, like the bass in it really, you felt it in your bones, right?
I felt it before in person maybe a couple weeks ago, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
You've talked to my father?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I don't know if I've talked to your father, but I've talked to somebody who sounds exactly like your dad, and he's not a flaming orb in the sky. He's actually...
And then right before you say Van Helsing, he comes back in and he's like, "Now, boys, this is important. I'm dying. And you can never come back to the Sun Temple ever again because I feel this darkness encroaching me in my bones, you know? Like it's a terrible thing, like some kind of gift, you know, coursing through my veins. It's terrible. We shouldn't really talk about it. It's awful."
Oh, come on. He said gift, Naya.
Shh, not now, Belmont. I'm trying to listen. This memory's very important. So it's just important, you know, that you stop this darkness, you know. And I'm looking at you guys, and I'm like, you know, only my son, my only son, sons can, like, stop this darkness, you know? So, like, get out there and give it hell. Go get him.
Give it hell. Okay, Naya, a few more things, right? So not only does this person sound desperate for you to not return to the Sun Temple, he just said literally his only son.
I'm sure it was a slip up, him being the sun god, and there is only one son.
Sure. But also, can you just like remember your brother for a sec?
Yes, smaller than me.
He just like kind of like phases next to you, and I'm like, hold up like your arm next to him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Do these look the same? Like, in terms of, you know, like, I'm just gonna say it. Your brother's got way darker skin than you do. You're pretty light. I don't want to say you're European passing, but
I cover up. You know, I don't want to disgrace father by having my skin just out and about.
Okay. And what about the part where your memory just keeps phasing in and out, and you don't see that big pile of dirt?
No, not at all. I see marble and gold and beautiful inlays and magical beasts flying in the sky
and delusion, Belmont whispers under his breath.
Purple clouds and all of its majesty. It's beautiful up here, really.
Okay, yeah, just keep living in the clouds with your head there.
Well, let's keep moving on, I guess. I don't know why this memory was even important.
This is literally the same thing, Naya. Oh,
what are you talking about?
I mean, I allowed to say? I mean, you made me figure it out.
I still don't know what you're trying to say. Like, are you jealous that I'm a sun god?
How about this? Let's Belmont does like a timeout thing for a sec, and he's like, let's just take a quick dip back into my dreamscape, okay? And he goes back to Heron Vineyard and the like mural of like Van Helsing like holding a baby, like surrounded by blackberries, and he's like, yep, that's what I thought. And he like climbs up on like a dream ladder and like wipes off next to it, and it's Van Helsing holding two babies, like a white and a dark looking child. He's like, "What do you think of this, Naya? What do you think? Tell me, this picture's telling us a story. What do you think that story is?"
I see the man you've been talking about, your companion, holding a child that we knew was you on the right there. And now this newly undiscovered child on the left. Very beautiful looking baby, probably stolen from the tribe people.
As that, the friar comes back in from my memory.
Oh, look at that. It seems dirt got on this mural. Let me just clean it up a little bit better. Yes, I remember that day. And he looks around, making sure nobody's around. Oh, my 2 sons. I couldn't be prouder. You two will stop this, I'm sure of it. Oh, I'm being heard. Quickly, skedaddle. McNibbles. Make 2.
Naya,
There's no possible way, Belmont. There's no way that he is also my father, right?
it's it's just look, a Latoots Tents wagon randomly driving through your tribe.
I thought you guys like to advertise Latoots tents everywhere you go. I see a Latoots tents every time I see a white face.
I don't even know where the actual business for Latoots Tents is, Naya. I have never seen that store in my life, just the wagon, and it's always being driven by Van Helsing.
Ah, yes, Latoots Tents. It was a business that I tried with a fellow friend.
The friar's just talking as he's cleaning the window.
It went under.
And does that voice not sound familiar, Naya? I know it's hard. It was hard for me to say it out loud too, but you and I might have more in common than a love for monster slaying, if you know what I mean.
Well, yes, the voice does sound familiar. Like I've heard it in yours memories many times, and maybe I have been under the effects of some hallucinogenics whenever I met my father, and that could have changed how the sound was perceived. I'm trying to look at this really with a wide eye, Belmont, and you're making this difficult. I feel like you're poking fun at me. Look at me, I'm ripped and chiseled. There's no way that I could be the son of that thing.
He accidentally died. The man I set up Latoots Tents, his name was Gary Latoots.
As he's still cleaning.
Okay, I'm going to deactivate this memory. I've attempted to make my point.
All right, we have one more door. Let's just get through it. You wish back to the hallway, and there's one final door. And this one seems like it's actually in like a dark alley of sorts. Like it's really brick and more of like a Victorian style. Really what you're more accustomed to, Belmont, than anything you've seen in Naya's past before. So you see 2 figures standing in the dark alley, and they're exchanging words. Brother, why have you brought me here to this village?
I have information that I really think you need to know.
All right, we'll spill it and try to keep it down. Your voice is so harsh and shrill.
All right, but there's no reason, to get upset at me, okay? Now, we have to go our separate ways for now, brother. It seems that there's a man out there named Binko or Bunko or something like that, and he's the one that Father was talking about. He's the one who's going to bring the darkness to an end.
Wait, what exactly are you saying here, brother? I don't understand. Is this man named Binko or Bunko or what?
Listen to me. This is all I can get to you now, okay? We have to be cautious, but we need to split up.
And just as that, a large demonoid figure flapping its wings come in and grabs Naya's brother and just picks him up and then starts flying off with him.
Oh my God, Naya.
I know, that was a surprise attack.
And you did absolutely nothing.
I should have seen it coming. I was in awe. I couldn't believe it. My foot tripped on a barrel right there. There's something else to it here. I remember something more. And then you see the brother getting taken away, and then more vampires start to emerge from the shadows to attack Naya. But just then, a elderly man wearing the Belmont crest is seen attacking another man off in the distance of the alley. And now Naya's fighting off these creatures while this hooded Belmont man is fighting another hooded, mysterious figure off in the distance.
Wait, I recognize that person. That's Boba Fett Belmont.
Did you just make that up?
Okay, I don't know everyone's name, but he's wearing the Belmont crest. I must be related.
Oh, yeah, must be that easy, I'm sure. I'm sorry my memory's so hazy, but obviously I was in the middle of fighting this vampire scourge, so I'm sorry the details aren't clear enough for you to see your family name on the back of some guy.
Okay, you need to calm down. I get that you are maybe not living up to any of the expectations that you had clearly set before this dreamscape vision quest, But you need to calm the fuck down, okay? Just because you can't kill these vampires and your brother got abducted and you're clearly not the son of a sun god does not mean you need to take it on me, okay? And what's going on now?
Yeah, wait, look at this move right here. And then Naya does some kind of spinning slice attack with his spear and it chops off. But then just right now at this second, a very dark cloaked wagon starts plowing through the alleyway. And Naya has to nimbly dodge out of the way. Sorry about that. I can't see anything with these damn eye patches on. McNibbles, I told you to lead the reins. And it clips the Belmont man that's fighting. And they make a turn. And then the other hooded man jumps onto the back of the Latute's tent's cart. And his hood, flowing in the breeze, falls behind him. And it's a clear symbol. You've seen this man before. It is Bingo that hopped onto the back of that cart, throwing one last dagger at the Belmont, who deflects it with ease.
I fucking knew that guy was evil. Fuck.
The Belmont man?
No, not this. I mean, this one seemed to be helping you, not the one Balenciaga, not so hot. But, listen, okay, I know that guy. That guy is who Van Helsing left with right before I came and was captured and met you.
Who is he? What's his name?
Bingo?
Bingo.
Yes. See, it's all coming together. But there's still things I don't understand, Naya. Like, okay, this happened. I get that you're like kind of, maybe immortal-ish or something, but this happened like 20-some years ago. Clearly Van Helsing is involved. Like, the time is not adding up. I feel like there's something we're missing here. We already figured out, like, he's clearly your dad. Sorry about it. But there's still something else going on. Like, if he was a sun god, if Van Helsing is a sun god, why is he working with Bingo, who he clearly warned you not to work with? Like, did he lose his memory or something? Or I don't know.
I don't know either. I will grant you that this man could potentially be my father.
100%.
Okay, sure. But why do I have powers? Why do I have great strength? Why do I have this longer lifespan than most people? Because this was quite some time ago, way before you were even conceived, Belmont.
Yes, I can't deny that. But maybe, Naya, maybe being a god and a hero isn't about your bloodline, but about the courage of your heart. Just kidding. That was a good. I almost got you there.
You saw a tear rolling down his cheek a little bit. He's like, "Yes, you got me."
It comes to like the Latute's wagon, like reversing and hitting like another pedestrian in the background.
My bad. I can't see a thing. My rat is driving. These rats these days. Inconsiderate. Goodbye.
Okay, Naya. I think. Well, let's leave this portal and let's see if we've done our job.
Whoosh back out through the portal, and now we are both standing outside of the Belmont Manor or estate. The roof is still collapsed and caved in, but there's now no longer any kind of arcane energy swirling about the place. But then there is a large voice that comes from underneath the house itself, and it's the voice of Belmont's dad, or stepdad, I guess.
Bastards, the both of you!
What was that, Belmont?
Oh, that's Pop. I think he's returned from whatever excursion he was teleported to right before we arrived.
I don't know how to battle a creature like this, especially in my mental state.
I'm not here to fight you or father you, bastards.
Okay, fair enough. Go on, Spirit. Tell us what it is that you want, besides telling Belmont that he's a good boy.
The stars have aligned, bastards. You must join forces with that which unites both of you.
I see.
Do you?
Yes, I admit it. That man, the blind wagon man, is the sun god.
No, he's not a god, you idiot.
All right, I tried one more time, but you're right. And that means...
Greshaberger! He's in Greshaberger!
All right, I'm trying to have a moment, Spirit. I just found out I have another brother. And he's looking right at Belmont. Holds out his hand to do the 80s high five.
In life, you disappointed your fathers, who weren't your fathers. But now, you can redeem the world.
What do you say, Belmont? Do we redeem our names, our bastard-like ways, and prove our stepdads right? Actually, I don't even know who my stepdad is, but at least let's prove your asshole of a stepdad wrong. What do you say, Belmont?
I say, and he like puts out his hand to do the 80s style like high five, like hand clap thing. I say we stick it to him.
Boom! High five all the way around.
Now, follow me!
It's just like dips into the ground, and then like a phantom white the Toots tent wagon appears.
Get in, bastards!
Of all the modes of transportation this spirit could have chosen, why did he choose the thing that killed my mother?
It's ironic!
I imagine the spirit wagon still having the TP strapped on the back with a ghostly arm hanging out of the back of it.
And we'll call it there.
Yeah.
All right, Nate. I don't know if we know what the story is anymore. I think we will have to do some serious retcon repair to our lore, but very excited to see. I think it's time to unite the characters.
I think so too. We need to bring everybody together, and then let's just go and kill Dracula.
Yeah, or Bingo. He seems honestly worse than Dracula.
Oh, yeah. And like, what was he doing fighting that Belmont and trying to steal Naya's brother? Like, these are things that we will probably maybe never find out because my story writing is not coherent.
Yes. It's a good time to remind listeners, if you're a new listener, we just pretty much improv these entire episodes. We have just like a story concept of like, this episode will be Naya's dreamscape. And that's really it. We do not plan. We don't really kind of work together and set anything up. So we just kind of roll with it and then use a lot of editing, a lot of editing.
I'm sorry, Nate.
Get it coherent. I'm pretty sure you just brought back Victor's voice because you want me to use the modulator again.
Yes, I do. I loved it. As soon as I heard it on the last episode, I was like, oh.
Your banter with it is so funny too. Now we're just tooting our own horns, but definitely loved the banter in that last episode. So hopefully more to come.
There will be. And I promise you that I do have a general idea of where I want to take this, but I'm not going to leave any spoilers on the podcast. You will have to just tune in next time.
Thank you for listening. As always, if you enjoy the show, share it on social media, send a link to somebody. We can only grow if you help others. We'll be at the Phoenix Fan Fusion, June 2nd through 4th. We have a shit ton of dice, drawstring bags, raffle prizes that we're giving away. We actually just ordered, oh my gosh, a Steam Deck to raffle off.
Yeah.
Nate, we got good shit. So come by our booth, subscribe, share with your friends, and thank you for listening.
Thank you again, and goodbye. Congratulations, you've survived another episode of Daft Monks. Did you enjoy the episode? Do you love the show? Do you want to pay for our dental plan? If so, I think it's only fair that you show Nat One some love in return. No, not that kind of love. Please, put it away. Oh, I meant follow us on our social medias and all that good stuff. Simply click the links in the episode description to follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, or click support our show to make a monthly contribution to help pay for all the expensive software Nate subscribes to. And don't worry, other Nate will see the money eventually as it grows, but not anytime soon. I promise. Lastly, do you want even more Nat One goodness? Of course you do. Who wouldn't? Then click the prequel podcast link to listen to our experimental first season of podcasting for 50 plus more episodes of conspiracy theories, messy one-shot campaigns, and of course, all of your favorite Nat One hijinks. Now, thank you a ton, and we will talk to you next week.